Yo, back again. It's your friends. And actually, we here in the space.
We're over at the Nico headquarters.
Nico, that's what okay. All right, we'll go with that.
First time here, yeah.
We're here,
They didn't know where the bathroom was.
It's not a post-COVID world, but I had to come and stop real
Feels
quick.
like it. A little bit.
A little bit. You masking up?
Here and there.
All right. You don't really go nowhere, so. But you've been traveling a lot.
I've been traveling
Peru,
a lot.
Colombia,
yeah. They require masks.
So yeah. Oh, that's right. So we good. But we're here. We back. Nico, Rico podcast finna get it in. And today, this is what we're talking about today. We are talking about.
Some may like it, some may not.
Yeah. We're not talking about religion. We're going to talk about the concept of God. Okay. So we're talking
that's even worse.
That's not worse. That's even better. That doesn't confine us to a certain denomination.
That is true. That's true.
So, concept of God. First and foremost, do you believe in God, divinity, intelligent design? Do you believe there is a greater, maybe singular, or a greater intelligence out there, or do you think it's just kind of like there's nothing out there?
No, I do think there's something out there. It's just so much for you to say that humans like this is it. I do think there's something out there that's much greater than us, much more advanced, much more everything, but just not the way that our society sees it. Like it's not that very specific way. So like there's many options, but for sure this one, the one that you've been taught since you were a kid.
Okay.
I don't think that one's true.
All right. So if we're thinking about from the perspective of God, so we understand that math is real, physics and all of that in the universe. And you mentioned earlier that before I got here, like you said you've been watching a lot of Marvel recently, talking about the multiverse and things of that nature. And when you look at physics, so say there are multiple realities, multiple universes, string theory and all that right there. Do you have an idea? Because I was talking to my daughter the other day about what if, just hypothetically, they said we are gods, we're the embodiment of God. We make God real. Our acknowledgement of
you were telling
great
him
things.
This?
Yeah, we have interesting conversations, but say this. I was talking about her about movies. Every movie that we ever can watch, the whole catalog, all the monsters and the aliens and the Marvel and all those things, all those stories, right? Or is in someone's imaginations, right? Our cognitive ability to imagine. Right?
Before they came out, we
put them out here, right?
Yeah.
So think about it. In another universe, Tony Stark is real. Another universe, aliens are real. And specifically to that universe, the way we see it, it might be a movie for us, it might be acting for them, but it might exactly be that way in another universe, right?
That's very true.
Could the concept be that, I don't know if we're Alpha Prime, but our dreams, our imaginations are windows to other universes, other realities. And thus, when we wake up or we stop thinking about those imaginations, it's like a gateway or a locking key to keep realities from spilling into other realities. So you have this crazy vivid dream about some other thing that goes on in a whole other universe as you peering into another universe consciously. Yeah. But when you wake up, it stops that universe from spilling over into another universe, like it coming into our universe.
What do you mean? What do you mean by coming into our universe? How does it come into our universe?
All right, think about it.
If I dreamt it.
Say the multiverse, right? So in the multiverse with No Way Home, Peter Parker said, "Oh, I wish everybody didn't know about me." That
I'm Peter Parker.
And they try to bring all those realities into that universe, right?
Yeah.
Think about it like this: everyone that watches that movie knows that Peter Parker is Spider-Man.
Oh, you mean us in the real world?
In our reality. Think about it. What if the idea of, say, does the thought, the imagination leading to the actors in the movie being made into a movie rendering that we could watch, what if the very thought of that occurring in some other universe would then draw billions of people at different time intervals into that universe, because the thought and the energy that flowed would try to grab us all and bring us into that universe? Can you imagine that?
But I would imagine it, but I don't know how it would work out for all of those to actually collide. If that makes sense.
Cosmic bridging. You remember when it was starting to rip, the fabric was starting to rip, and he had to come in closer
together? When he was up in the
because instead of bleeding in, they were pulling it in from other places. in our reality, we know that Peter Parker is Spider-Man according to movies that we've seen in the comic books. We're aware of that. Can you imagine if that quote unquote spell, that bridge conduit, was to pull us into that universe? And think about it, we wouldn't be the only ones that know that.
Oh, okay. I see it.
Yeah, think about that. So I was thinking about
you're taking that one thing that happened and
Yeah.
applying it to
say
absolutely everything.
Yeah, a cosmic bridge through physics and say energy, pulling in other consciousness and say everyone that knows that Peter Parker is Spider-Man will be dragged here. Think about billions of us on this planet know, and we're just one realization.
So you're saying we're part of that spell because we know that he's Peter Parker, and now we will
think about it.
But that would apply to the first spell, not the second one, because everyone who knew it forgot, but we still do.
But it was still bringing people there, and it only brought some people. But what we understand is the movie. But think about it from a God perspective, right? God is supposed to be all-knowing, omnipotent, all-powerful, right? But that would bridge across how many universes, how many realities. It would be a constant string of different entities. One conscious entity, because consciousness, the realization is kind of, it's all encompassing. We think, but we're not the only ones thinking. But our consciousness all together stream together. We are a conscious universe. I think the universe is aware of itself. If it's living, it's aware of itself, right? Matter doesn't get destroyed. So if God say, or intelligent design exists here, mathematics, and exists other places, it might not work the same way. But can you imagine if everything spans across everything? Like literally, but there's somewhere in our universe, because the universe is expanding, that our universe is bleeding over into another universe. And that universe is bleeding over into, or multiplicative universes are bleeding over into other places. But think about it, there's ways to keep it from getting out of control. Trust me, we don't want Walking Dead.
Which was what Ken was trying to do.
Yeah, and we don't want, say, Walking Dead to bleed over into our universe, because those aspects might not, say those aspects don't work. A zombie comes here, the virus doesn't exist in this universe, but now it does, or it doesn't work, it doesn't meet the aesthetics. There's no
for it to be able to survive here.
So we come here and it's basically like, okay, they drop dead because things of that nature die in our universe, but they live in their universe. So that wouldn't be possible. We don't have, say, infinity stones that when they come here, they wouldn't work because our physics are limited, that wouldn't be possible. So there could be limiters in our universe that we're aware of that would keep those things from bleeding over here. But I think maybe the only way we can get those conduits is maybe through consciousness. Our dreams allow us to tap into, or imagination allows us to tap into other realms.
What I was talking to somebody else about this too. It's also about not even just the possibility of like other realities, but also what you think is a reality or what you think is another dimension. Because you living in Jamaica and somebody else, a kid being born in the Ukraine right now, you may be able to, I wouldn't agree with it, but technically if you say, if I say your life is one reality and theirs is another, that's technically true. Even though we're not thinking another complete separate reality, like a duplicate, no, like that's if you lost, somebody you care about, like a family member, and you compare that to how you were yesterday, those are two different realities.
Yeah, two different whole
so realities. That's also something to take to
but account. It is a stream. Because think about it, there's in a universe somewhere we're doing this same exact podcast, saying the same exact thing, maybe a second off, and you're wearing a blue shirt and I'm wearing a pink shirt. And there's the idea,
which is actually how the reality in our world or whatever, that's how they say it is. Like it's the exact same thing, or just almost one thing is just a little bit.
Imagine if one atom was different, just one component, then two components were different, just small things.
It changes everything.
Yeah, in a component of time.
Yeah.
To fathom that is.
I would be Peter Parker.
Huh?
I would be Peter Parker.
Think about that. Shoot, I would be Batman. And so, but I think about when we think about God, to have such small confines or very limitations, because think about God, they say God can do anything or gods can do anything. Can gods bridge reality? Are there
I think that's included in anything.
That's a possibility, because think about it. If there's a God here and there's a God across different realities, do they work together? Are they one person just spread out across, or are they multiple gods and just kind of like, hey, I'm God of like how Loki,
like I'm here and you're
yeah,
there and we don't mess with each other.
yeah,
kind
like
of
I'm
thing.
Loki in this, I'm a variant here, and I'm this and this, I'm God variant this, and I'm God variant that, and whatever, and it's kind of just be like that. It's like, all right, well, cool. You're in your quadrant doing your thing and whatever.
And I'm here doing my thing. And
And
we
like,
don't
all
mess with each
right,
other.
keep it moving. So when I look at the idea of like, if you do just touch on this a little bit, the Bible and those things, like it's definitive. Like we said, those books kind of make us the center of the universe.
Kind of make us what?
The center of the universe.
Oh.
You know, we're the most important thing, at least on this planet, and the history of this planet, coming to Armageddon and all that type of stuff, if you believe on that. But I think it's funny because the planet is as old as we think it is, according to scientific testing, that we can validate objectively.
Public scientific testing.
Okay, public. Then it's like, okay, if we can verify certain things, how can other ancient viewpoints be validated if we've invalidated them beyond some things that are unknown? Like I'm not saying that God doesn't exist, but science hasn't revealed him. He hasn't directly revealed himself and be like, hey,
we don't see any historic facts that say, okay, that
like
what's being said in such
like
books.
That. So, but I look at, like, I believe God is real. I just don't believe God is real in the context that he's been characterized throughout history, like Christian God or Islamic God.
It's that whole story, just, at least to me, it sounds more like human planning. But also what I think of God is, I think God, instead of someone or something, it's well, I guess it's something. It's more of a concept. It's like when you talk about happiness or sadness. Okay. And now you're trying to say, oh, happiness is this person up in the sky. Does that make sense? Yeah. That's how I see God. Instead of happiness, just God. Yeah. So I feel like people, just to be able to relate to it more and other means, they see it as a one very specific thing, because it's easier to understand, it's easier to replicate, and also it's easier to relate to. Yeah. So I think it's just a concept. It's not a person. Does that make sense? Enough.
So you say, all right. So you said relate to. Do you believe maybe sometimes people use the concept of God to deflect from themselves, saying, like you said, it's easy to relate to, but if there's a fault, oh, it's God's will, or if that was just the will of the gods, or we don't know how God moves. It's God moves in mysterious ways, ignoring the fact and deflecting from ourselves that we ourselves have a lot of control over our decisions, what we invest in, what we do, what we don't do, and all the physics that come from the things that we touch, the ripple effect that we have. Do you think some people use God a lot of times to deflect from their apathy or the things they set in motion?
Yeah, I think God's been used for everything. Just absolutely everything, for good, for bad, for guilt, for shame, for whatever it is, for you to just justify whatever you think. It's just it's just a way for people to, what do you call it? Like when I don't want to say humanize, because technically we're talking about God, but when you make something into someone, like a concrete thing, something more tangible that you can interact with better. Okay. So do you think like that's true? Like, do you think if there is one, there maybe there's more than one? Maybe he's all alone making all the decisions, or maybe is he more like humans than we really, if he did exist? Sure. Do you think he would be more like humans than we really were taught he was?
I look at God more like a computer, or God more like
like an algorithm, you mean?
Yeah, like an algorithm. Because we talk about matrix thinking, and we see patterns, and there's glitches in our reality. And reality is a construct. So it's kind of like reality is only real because we are able to realize it, Like realistically, what they say, I think, therefore I am. Okay. But what if we are the thought? What if we are the imaginations of someone else sleeping in another universe, another aspect? When we watch movies like Inception and The Matrix, and we look at those concepts, right now, I might only be here because I might be the thought process of someone else that and we're two avatars in their thinking, right? We continue to
like exist. We're a product of their imagination, and this isn't real?
Yeah. Or it's real. It's real, but it's just represented in different aspects, because we could all be a construct. Yeah. Because we always ask, well, what is reality? Why are the rules the rules? Why is what is? Even at these conversations is a turn in on itself to say, okay, well, we're having a conversation. It must be real. what truly is real. Is it tangible? You feel it's receptors. You think you taste, but really it's a chemical reaction and stuff. Why are there chemicals? Why is this? Why is that?
It's really more you smell than you really
Then
taste.
you taste olfactory. Fair enough. But I look at God to where when we can look at atoms and we can look at DNA on such a small microscopic to even nano level, and you got things as like vast as the Milky Way. To think that like there's a being that orchestrates that, and he's paying attention to where he's like, man, I'm really watching Nico right now. Just Nico I'm following out Nico's life, but you got everything that came before you and everything that comes after you and every little thing you do, and I know all of it. But I know every cell that makes up your body. I know every cell is gonna die, and I know that you'll never see this part of the universe that I'm working on over here. The astronomical calculations of everything. And it's funny when we think about God.
That must be a pretty overwhelmed mind.
Or it just happens. It's math. Like math doesn't, I don't think math thinks about it.
But at the end of the day, I just thought about this.
Yeah.
If say that's true, right?
Yeah.
If that happens, when you first said, I was like, damn, that's a really powerful person. But at the same time, if you don't do anything about it, it's like you're not really powerful. You're not really mighty. You're just you might be you know a lot, but you can't do anything. You don't do anything. It's like
we have our computers and our computers sit there, there's processing power, but if they're not processing anything, or they're just maintaining just the stat quo on a low level, then it's the computer could do a lot of processing, maybe creation and whatnot, or destruction, but it's defragging and making new files, but it's not really doing anything new processes. But the processes themselves are interacting on their own. Then it's just kind of just calculating what comes out of that. If God is that, then I think God is maybe not really emotional. He just might realize, but everything else is just doing it on its own. Like evolution is just going its way, calculating and going its way. I don't think God himself is basically, or herself is basically saying, no, I want this to go over here and go, because it would have to interfere. And it's interference. And I think that's one of the big things when they say about certain gods is they're saying, God wants to know about what's greater, good or evil. I don't think God is good or evil because he kind of creates everything. Everything's and good and evil is just an outcome, one or the other of many outcomes. Good for some people is bad for others. Bad for some is really bad for others. You know, it's subjective in regards. Sometimes good and evil is really subjective.
Yeah,
I don't think God cares. Honestly, I know it's gonna be controversial. I don't think God cares because God
just knows, like it is what it is.
Yeah, he knows if he's in one spot, he knows at the end, at least human history. Once our consciousness, if our planet dies, everything goes with it. Our consciousness ends here. The rest of the universe still goes on. It's still been spinning off for billions and billions of years afterward.
So to us, it's everything, but to the bigger picture,
it's not even a blip. And to him, it might be like nothing because there were some thinking beings billions of years that just gone. So I don't know why God would care when his job is just gotta keep everything running, gotta keep creation going.
Let's just keep it running, yeah.
Yeah, because gravity's not thinking about being gravity. Physics are not thinking about being physics. I don't know what reality would be if reality or mathematics was aware of itself. I think math being aware of itself is us. You know, we are.
Well, mathematics are just accounting. Well, it's not like mathematics is a thing. It's just just a language that we created as humans, but mathematics
for us to understand it, but it's always existed. But think about it like this: computers become self-aware, like Terminator, right? They realize that certain constructs or certain dynamics exist in the space that they're in. Yeah. They either buck the system when they work with it or try to improve it, right? You got to play the movies like that. But are they God that they went from just calculating to understanding, conceptualizing, you know, being aware, like, oh, wow, I'm this thing that I wasn't before. I understand you. I see how you move. I calculate this. This is now dangerous. I don't want to die. I must protect myself. All those concepts. And it's amazing, but that's what we are. I think that's why I think we're God. We are God.
We're God.
I think we are gods. We're the embodiment of God because we can create. But we are still at the mercy of things around us.
We can create and destroy.
Yes, we can create and destroy. We can be arrogant and we can be humble. And I think we can travel, we can do certain things, but we don't understand everything. I think that's the only thing about the God idea that eludes us. We say that God understands everything. We have no clue. We have no idea. We haven't even found God in this up, but we know us, and we're still discovering us every day. And I think we're God because we are the self-aware machine. We are the awareness of, I guess I am real. And I have this kind of power. I can destroy myself. I can destroy others. And I think that makes us God. We can speak into existence because we can speak into math. So it's like, this will happen. And I set this chain of events and the math is going to calculate and process itself. Like, okay, and you can have that. Or you'll be denied because the math don't work like that based on probability, timing, and all those other things. So I think ultimately, if God,
that's really interesting. I hadn't heard that before.
Oh man, it's out there, man. Your boy been on some deep stuff in a while, but it's just when we die and we stop, our consciousness stops. We're no longer aware. If you reincarnate, and this is a dope movie on Netflix. I forgot what it's called, Infinity or something. Infinity. It's actually pretty dope about coming back and being reincarnated, but remembering everything. The idea of being tired of living and not being able to die and not being able to be off, and the tediousness of always living. So you can imagine being God and having to go through that. And the guy wanted to destroy
forever and ever.
Yeah, he wanted to destroy the world so that he wanted to kill all life on the planet so he couldn't reincarnate into anything. But he thought that it was going to force God out of hiding. So it's weird, crazy stuff like that, man. But
I mean, I think that's a very good theory. It's just that I think God does exist, just not in the way that people think.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's just, I think that the way we've been taught, like by our culture, society, school, whatever, friends and family, was just a very specific story that was created centuries and centuries ago, just for you to control your neighbor. Like, that's what I think. And of course, I mean, I believe it's been very successful. It sounds convincing, but now with all the technology we have and all the advancements that we have, not only in our awareness, but the awareness of the world we live in, is you can't just say, oh, God is mad at us and that's why it's raining.
True.
No, it's just now you can explain why it's raining.
Yeah,
and why
pressures, and this is why we have tornadoes and hurricanes and all that.
And that's why that's the whole story. Like,
it's funny. Yes. I think that science is helping us not make God smaller, but helping us get closer to him. And I look at things.
Wouldn't it be just farther away? Because now you're realizing that it may not even be real.
I don't think that. I think we're getting closer on a micro level and a macro level. We're making closer advances, and we're realizing that there are more that we don't understand, but we're making strides every day. I think when we get caught up in the rat race of being human and not being divine, that we lose sight because we have to live in the space that we are now. But I think what we realize is that God is not the guy in the sky. He's not the story. God is something else that's out there because God is a consciousness. And maybe there's a universal consciousness. Maybe there's a conduit of spanning from here into another realm, into another reality or something like that. And you realize, oh, God is consciousness that binds us all together, the life stream, because life is something very unique. Machines don't have it, but plants have it. Germs have it, bugs have it, we have it. There's a life element. It's an energy, no different than what we consider magic or alchemy or electricity. Is like electricity. Electricity is a concept. It's a theory, but it's a type of energy like a plasma, and it's like different states. So I think we're getting closer to God every day, but I think the closer we get to God, the closer we get to ourselves, and we're realizing, oh, you know what? As I get closer to God, it's not in the book. Because the book is great. The books can be great guides for human nature, sociology, psychology. But I think through our advancements, we're realizing that we should be humble because we are fragile. We can be very dangerous, but we can be very great. Sometimes when I think about Tesla and some of the ideas that we've come up and some of the things that we tested and how many people have died testing certain things, eating, ingesting, and finding out certain things through death or hardship. But finding awesome discoveries at this point, the amount of people had to sacrifice their lives or spend their entire lives
for us to even get here,
to get to where we are right now. Hell, air conditioning. I think that's us getting closer to the God that's within us because we have the capability. The devil only is a devil because we understand the things of our nature that makes us devilish. The things that make us benevolent, things that make us godlike. I think we attribute those things because, hey, you found money on the street because somebody dropped it or got loose or something. There was a probability of what happened. We could give it to God, but then God would have to pick favorites at certain times, and then there have to be a purpose.
And now that's when things start getting
that complicates the calculation. I don't think the computer wants to I don't think a computer wants to
Wants to
complicate.
do that. Wants to do
For
that.
what reason? What's the outcome? Especially
Why choose you over me if we were just born
but it
here
could be some
and that's
giant
it?
scheme. But what's the outlying scheme? There's billions of people. What's the outlying scheme for who? Heaven? I feel like Constantine, but that's all I got, bro.
I remember there was this speech by Justin Bieber when he got an Oscar or something they got. I don't know.
Probably
And
Grammy,
then
okay.
a Grammy, yeah. Oh yeah, because he's not Oscar is the acting people.
Yeah, but maybe he did. I don't know.
I really don't care. And then he said, I thank God for everything he's given me and for this award. Like, first of all, something like that.
Yeah.
And a lot of people were just coming at him. I didn't think anything of it. I'm like, okay, he's being grateful, you know, that's good, I guess. And then people were like, well, like, what does this mean? Like, why would God choose you and not this poor kid in freaking Indonesia or the Philippines?
For anything. Yeah.
Like, why?
Yeah.
So that's what I was already in the same mindset I am now, but that's what that also made me think is like, holy shit, that's true. It's just,
I think maybe
I don't want to say like he's lazy and he doesn't. No, that's not what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's like, why, like, you're here and there's poor kids in I don't know, wherever.
But I think in that instance, I think people have to understand who his God is. And his God might just be God is a shortcut word to say universe. Click universe. God, hey God, I appreciate you. God is like the universe, and it's just basically paying your dues to the universe to put good things in motion, paying it forward, good energy.
That's probably what he meant.
Maybe that's
what I would have said if it was me.
Yeah.
And also going back to the tangible thing, how a lot of civilizations saw it, I know at least in like Mexico and Peru and all that, was, for example, that, which I actually do kind of agree with, is that the sun, was their God. Because they provide life, that's how they make their food, that's how that's how they're able to live and all that. So that I do understand. The problem is but the thing is, you can say, oh, the sun doesn't want you to have sex before you get married, because the sun, I mean, it's just the sun. Exactly. But when you make it when you make it like us, when it's a human-like form that's almighty, now he or she can say exactly, because the sun doesn't talk, the moon doesn't talk.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? So that's how I think things just started. That somewhere in history, a very smart and evil group of people just had the greatest idea ever, just to change things around and turn it to their benefit. And I think it worked out.
It's psychology, man.
Because that's how they saw it at the beginning. I can tell you.
Cool. Good talk, boss. Hey, that's all I got. It was a deep one, bro. I think kind of in the same space, it kind of rocks a little differently, right?
Yeah, I know. It feels different.
Yeah, okay.
And I know glitches too. Yeah.
Fair enough. So
thanks for watching, everybody.
What y'all think? Is God real? As opposed to religion? Is it all just one big game? Is it one big calculation? Are we really trapped in the matrix?
Is it a scam?
Is it a scam? Who's getting scammed? What's the deal? Is there
a multiverse out there?
Is it
talked about the multiverse too?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, the Scarlet Witch, Spider-Man, all that.
Let us know what you think. Get us in the
are we gods? Is the Nico headquarters heaven? We don't know that. Maybe we'll find out in the next episode. Leave a like, comment, share it with everybody else. Comment down below all your opinions. Telling me they're not watching us. What is it I say?
The last day.
If they're not watching us, what is it I usually say? Tell everybody if they're not watching us. Oh, they're missing out. Have a good one.
All right.